check is proudly brought to you by First Capital Bank. Belief comes first.
Alrighty. Good morning, Dr. B.
Good morning. How's you? Top of the world for you.
Well, I'm good. I've been telling everyone this morning that I was playing board games until 1 a.m. Yes, and yeah.
How? we need to do another program on sleep.
Oh, yes. No, I do sleep. Don't worry, Dr. B. I was just having a good time this morning.
Good for you. Well,
Yes.
Today we're going to be finishing off last week, which was sugar and fat and all the things, the energy drinks. And I must tell you, Zoo, we have clearly got an audience that is addicted to these energy drinks.
Yeah.
I've had so many messages about, but Naka, this energy drink helps me and what, and I think we need to do another show because it actually clearly has drawn a huge amount of attention. We've got 197 questions on the energy drinks, but I wanted to talk about the fat burners because they really are in the same league, Zoo, in terms of absolute garbage. I mean, there's lots of stuff on the, excuse the pun, there's lots of them on the market. Most of them are over-the-counter or OTC, as we say. You can buy it without a prescription, which tells you something already.
Yeah.
In other words, it's something that the drug industry will not regulate because it's just full of, excuse the word, crap. There's nothing in there. And people will swear by it, too. They will take these fat burners and say that they lose weight. Actually, what's happening is it's a mind game. You actually believe you're losing weight. You probably also think, well, if I'm losing weight, I'm going to eat less. I'm going to exercise a little bit more. It may be the eating less and exercising more that's helping you rather than the big red pill. So
Yes.
really, all the things that we've actually investigated that are available in our country are all a load of toss. There are two major fat-losing pills that are prescribed by doctors, neither of which actually make you lose very much weight. One is called Zenecal, and this is what it does, is it blocks the absorption of fat if you eat something fatty. And what happens is the side effect, obviously, then is your poop, which we're going to talk about next week, becomes oily and messy, and you poop in your pants because everything is so greasy. So you lose about 2.5 to 3 kilos, but it really doesn't do anything to you. And the second one is actually one that is, I have no idea why it's still available. It actually should have been withdrawn by the Drug Regulatory Authority. So if anybody from Bomra is listening, why aren't you withdrawing this drug? It's called Reductil. And Reductil, actually, the way it does make you lose weight, and it does make you lose weight, is it switches on your adrenaline in your system. So adrenaline is a fat burner. But a lot of people who take it, people who are obese also at the same time may have blood pressure, may be diabetic, may have other issues. And what this does when it switches on your adrenaline is it puts a massive rise in blood pressure. So it actually has been found to be detrimental to many cardiac patients. So please don't take these compounds because they really don't work and they're not safe to use. And the common side effects of some of these are, like I say, diarrhea, nausea, gas, diarrhea, black stool. So be careful. People knew we were going to talk about this. They've actually sent me something like 22 different fat burners on the market, and I've looked at all of them, Zoo, and they're all a load of bollocks. So this is important, and it leads me to a far more important subject, and that is the one about the fat around your tummy. Now, the abdominal obesity is defined as a waist circumference more than 80 centimeters if you're a woman and more than 90 centimeters if you're a man. So we're actually encouraging medical students to put a tape measure around their neck as well as a stethoscope to demonstrate to public out there that measuring your waist circumference can actually tell you a lot more about your health than you might believe. And the reason why is we've begun to understand that the fact that there's growing evidence that suggests that abdominal obesity is particularly detrimental because the fat around your tummy, for lots of complicated scientific reasons, causes insulin resistance. It causes bad cholesterol in your system. It produces chemicals that raise inflammation in your body, which are critical in the role of heart disease and metabolic syndrome and certain cancers. So we know it's the reason why there's some people who look thin on the outside actually become diabetic. And you think, Kante, I'm not overweight. Why am I that? It's because there's fat around if we do a scan, there's fat in your gut, which you can actually pick up on an ultrasound. So, those people who say, well, Naka, I'm just going to go and have it taken out by liposuction. It's not that fat I'm talking about. It's a fat actually that's actually swirling around your gut, which you can't remove by cosmetic surgery. And this is really important. The biggest issue in terms of the foods that causes abdominal obesity are once again the foods we talked about, Zoo. The fatty meals, the high carbohydrate meals, the excess calories, the sugar, the wheat, the bread, the corn, the palachi, the sugar, the fruit juice. All these things actually add up and cause this to become so big. Somebody's already asked, why is my lower belly so big? Well, it may be not so much because of fat, it may be because of gas. Sometimes gas is trapped and can cause abdominal distension. If you're having gas trapping in your stomach, it may be you're eating foods that cause you to ferment. But the 5 foods that will reduce your fat, Zoo, are things like whole fruits and vegetables, fiber, moruku,
Yes.
Sometimes cinnamon. Cinnamon actually is a natural supplement that is a fat burner. We use it in diabetics. Add a sprinkle of cinnamon on your food. Actually, is a very good food to cut your belly fat. Fish is good for you. Chilies, believe it or not, are good for you. And drinking lots of water will also be good for you.
Yes.
So somebody's asked, how can I reduce my fat effectively? And the answer is, like I say, eat plenty of soluble fiber. Avoid foods that contain sugary items. Don't eat too much alcohol. Eat a protein-rich and vegetable-rich diet. And of course, exercise. You don't need to go to the gym. You can just do some press-ups and sit-ups in your
walking.
Kitchen. Just walking. Like you said with you and your mum. This will shrink that belly fat. And somebody asks, what's the safe waist size? Like I say, if you're a woman, get the tape measure out and measure. If it's more than 80 centimeters, you've got work to do, girl. And if it's more than 90, you've got work to do, man. Because the problem is we know that the rise in obesity is directly related to the rise in blood pressure and diabetes. So if your waist circumference is more than that, you have a growing risk of developing diabetes and blood pressure.
A lot of problems, man.
Absolutely. So these are really important things to remember in terms of fighting belly fat and the importance of this abdominal fat that sits in your system. And just one last thing before you jump in with any questions is that we've now discovered that those that have repeated COVID infections and who are obese, we found that the COVID virus actually sneaks away and tucks itself into the abdominal fat, and every now and again releases. It releases itself into the system and causes inflammation. And so we've now begun to understand why obesity may be a risk factor for COVID and poor outcomes as a result of COVID, because fat itself causes inflammation and COVID itself causes inflammation. So you've got a double whammy.
Yes, definitely. I wanted to know, in the fat burners, do they contain the same kind of ingredients as the energy drinks, just like here and there, as well as these fat burners in the long run? How, can they cause death, or are we just going to be stretching?
Absolutely they can, because the problem, Zoo, is when something is not regulated by the medical industry, people don't know how to take it, how frequently to take it, what quantity, are they addictive, what happens if I stop them? A lot of them initially make you lose weight because they're diuretic. They make you pee a lot, so you actually lose weight because you've lost water, and then you think, hey, I'm actually losing weight, but actually what you're doing is you're losing water. Some of these contain, as you said, they contain the same things as energy drinks. They contain caffeine and sugar, and so the caffeine increases your metabolic rate, but caffeine can also raise your heart rate, can raise your blood pressure, can give you lack of sleep, and give you the jitters. So a lot of these compounds that are available, and I know a lot of people that go to the gym buy these supplements. Please don't do that. Check with your health practitioner about the safety of these things, because a lot of them have really dodgy content. I mean, I couldn't even pronounce some of the words on the bottles that sent to me from the local gym up the road from me to say these are the ones that people are buying, because they're freely available, unfortunately. And I always say unfortunately, it's cancer of the wallet. You're just wasting, it's expensive urine. It's just going out into your pee.
That's bad, Dr. B. I mean, I'm also looking at how I've noticed since we spoke about these energy drinks last week, a lot of people that are buying these drinks, it's just because it's, like you're saying, the easiest thing. But I've seen how it deteriorates them. I don't know what causes the deteriorating and the fatigue after that.
What happens, Zoo, is because most of these contain huge amounts of sugar. So what happens, and we see particularly in children when they go out to that corner Simausi to buy an Energate, is that Energate contains about 8 to 9 teaspoons of sugar. So when you drink that all at once, all that sugar rushes into the system, and so the body says, the sugar is really high. So what it does is it forces the pancreas, which is the organ's body that produces insulin, to rush insulin into the circulation, and all that sugar just suddenly disappears, and then you crash. And so you actually feel really tired after a short energy burst because the insulin has mopped up all that sugar, and so you actually go out and buy another energy drink because you say, you know what, maybe I need another energy drink, and you keep going round and round and round, and the only thing that happens is the sugar makes you obese, and then you get addicted to the stuff, which is why some people are addicted to Coca-Cola, because it gives them that short burst, but you have a huge cost to bear later in life. And this is the reason why, unfortunately, when you look at, like I always say, if you look at some of your grandparents, and even maybe if you have great-grandparents, there was no issue of obesity in that generation, and they didn't go to gyms, they didn't buy fancy food, they didn't take fat burners, they just ate healthy, and there's something to be learnt in that that we're missing in the generations today.
Definitely. So, I mean, we're out of time, Dr. B, but it's really touched on something that I think we really need to focus on. Hey, these energy drinks and these things that are killing us. I think we should focus on that one time. But yeah,
one of the sad issues, unfortunately, which is why these programs that we do are so important, is that we're fighting against a huge multinational, multi-billion-dollar food and beverage industry. Which can put out adverts that really consume you, and if you're not thinking carefully, you think, I can't say this must be true.
Exactly.
You don't believe those billboards that you're driving past. They're simply not true, and this is the huge power of them. They've got huge bucks for marketing, and a lot of the marketing is actually deceitful.
Definitely. Well, Dr. B, I cannot wait for next week's topic. I'm so excited. I saw the email.
So next week we're going to be talking about why your poop is very important. What can it tell you about your health? Why you should be inspecting your poop, and what it can reveal about some potential dangers in your system. So we'll talk about that next week.
I am so happy. Thanks, Dr. B. Have a good one. All right.
Health Check was proudly brought to you by First Capital Bank. Belief comes first.